What's going on, guys? So in this video I'm gonna have a little story time about my first ever knife and kind of my journey through my knife collecting and knife hobby and love for knives. Might be weird to some people, but you guys get it. So yeah, as you can see in front of you, this was pretty much my first knife. Now I've had knives before this, little, cheap plastic knives, dollar store stuff, stuff like that. But this was the first significant, knife of quality that I can remember. My first knife that you get, when you get your first knife and it's a good knife, it sets your start for the passion. So this was that knife for me, So this was actually a Christmas gift from my father. I believe I got this when I was like 11 years old, something like that. Very, very long time ago. And yeah, this is pretty much my first knife that started it all for me, and got me into this crazy money spending, pocket draining hobby of ours. Some of you guys out there know what I'm talking about. So if you haven't seen one of these before, this is the Cold Steel Mini AK-47. This is a real old knife, discontinued. They don't make it anymore. And for some of you old school guys from back in the earlier Cold Steel days, you'll remember this knife. And it was a pretty cool EDC knife back in the day, and it still works just fine. I don't carry it much anymore because I'm just afraid to lose the dang thing. But yeah, that's the Cold Steel Mini AK. There's the big brother, the AK-47, which I had to get. So like the next year or whatever, this was like another Christmas present from my dad. So just some cool father-son gifts. So he'd always have knives that he would give me from his collection. That's kind of what started me, was him having this whole knife collection. He had it in this little glass case, and there was just so many knives that he had. I thought they were so cool. I was begging him to get me a Cold Steel when I was a kid, and he gave me two of these things. So it's just a cool little pair of AKs. The full-size one I do carry more often. I actually really enjoy this knife. It's pretty BA. But yeah, good knives. So if some of you haven't seen that knife, because a lot of people weren't around from back in those days, it's a pretty cool knife. Not a lot of people know that Cold Steel used to make the Cold Steel Mini AK. But yeah, these pretty much, Cold Steel in general as a brand was the brand that kind of got me into knives. Going forward with the Recon 1 here, this was a staple, and a lot of people like the Recon, and that got me into knives even more. Once I got the Recon, then I wanted to look into Spyderco, because Spydercos were awesome. Back in the YouTube community back in the day, everybody was talking about, it was Cold Steel and Spyderco, man. I mean, they were the top dogs. And then, comes the Spydercos, yeah, PM2 obviously, and all the different brands of knives that I've gone through: Zero Tolerance, Benchmade, Kershaw, Microtech, Hinderers, Chris Reeves, Gerber, Buck, all the different knives. I have so many. I think I did a collection video. But these were kind of the staples. These folding knives in front of you were kind of the staples of my collection and my hobby. I've had these knives for a long time, and they kind of got me kick-started into the hobby, And now, these days, I'm into the really expensive, fancy stuff. Yeah, I know. But yeah, so basically, just wanted to tell you guys a little story time about my first knife. I remember being so excited getting my first Cold Steel, my first quality knife, and it was just awesome. Super grateful to have all of these things, and super grateful for my father kind of starting me into this hobby. I mean, he was a hunter, so he had a bunch of knives, bunch of guns, and that's kind of how I spitballed into, this area. So yeah, just a cool little story time. I remember getting this on Christmas, and as you can imagine, a little 11-year-old boy with his first Cold Steel on a Christmas morning, yeah, that was a special moment. So I'm sure some of you guys can relate out there. You know, that one gun or that one special knife that you got that just always sticks in your head and you just can't get rid of it. Like, I'll never get rid of that thing because it was pretty much my first knife. So yeah, just wanted to showcase this little Cold Steel AK-47. If you can get your hands on one of these, do not look over it. It's still not a bad knife at all. Thick G10, Os 8A, you know, cool little looking knife too. But yeah, not doing a review. Don't worry. Just a little story time. So if any of you guys watching this video, leave down in the comments, you know, what knives were your first knife, or what knife was your first knife, or what is that special knife that somebody gave you or you got for yourself that, you know, just has a special place in your heart, really. And you know, we'll always be a companion by your side. So leave down in the comments, you know, that special knife of yours, or your first knife, or whatever, or just say hello or whatever. I don't know. I try to get back to anybody that leaves a comment in my comment section. I appreciate it. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. A little story time, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.